Hello lovelies, it's Adele from Crow with the Flow. Today, I wanted to show you some crochet eyes, a slightly different version to the one I've showed you before. We've previously talked about the benefits of crocheted eyes, but there's not just the one style, as I'm sure you're well aware. So clearly I have a thing with textured purple, but let's just roll with it. You can see here the pattern that I showed you last time. This one has a slightly different white glint. I'm going to show you them side by side so you can see. Slightly different white glint and with the whites around the eyes and a bit of a angling down of, I don't know whether you want to call it a brow or an eyeliner or maybe a lash even. So you might want to use this version when you need to create a little bit more character in the face. I will link down the bottom to the first eye video so you can see that there. We're going to be running through some similar types of skills, but with a few more color changes. This one, the only way you can really adapt the size is by using a slightly different yarn. So you could use a bigger yarn and a bigger hook, or a smaller yarn and a smaller hook to adjust the eye size as you go. Otherwise, this pattern is kind of fixed. The other thing we have to factor in is that they're basically kind of a mirror image, almost a mirror image of each other. So the left and right eyes are going to be slightly different, but we obviously still have the benefits of this being a soft eye, which is great for if you're making toys for kids, if you want to make a different color. All of those benefits obviously still apply with this eye. You can see up here, I've used this eye primarily in the past on a wombat. So I've always kind of thought of it in my head as being the wombat eye, but perhaps I need to think of a better name for it. Like, I don't know if you guys can think of anything. I don't even know. Can you think of any good names that I could give to this eye? So that you've got this for when you need it. Don't forget to like, share, comment, let me know what you're going to be adding this eye to. And let's get started. I've listed here all the materials you'll need to complete these eyes, but don't forget, if you can't find the 3 different colours, you can make it in 2 or even the 1. They'll just look slightly different. All right, we're nearly ready to get started. There's just a few more points before we do. I use a yarn over technique with all of my stitches for the eyes. I feel like it just looks a little bit neater, but you do you. I do all of my colour changes in the last movement of the stitch before I need it, and you'll notice that I work over all the tails just to make sure that they remain secure. First up, we're making the right eye. For row 1, we are using black yarn and we are wanting to do 8 single crochets into the magic ring. And you can see here that I've sped that up because I assume you know what you're doing. And once you're done, pull your magic ring closed. For row 2, we're going to continue using our black yarn and we're going to complete 4 single crochet increases. So that's 2 single crochets in each stitch for the next 4 stitches. And if, like me, your magic ring keeps loosening itself, give it a proper tug and say, mate, what are you even doing? And once we get to that last movement of the 4th increase, we want to change to our lightest colour. And then we do 1 increase with that light pink colour, making sure that we're working over the tails to secure them. In that last movement again, we're going to change to the mid pink. And then we complete an increase in the mid pink, again working over our tails. In the last movement of the middle increase, we're changing to the dark colour, and then surprise, surprise, we do an increase in the dark pink too. And then to finish out this row, we'll change over to the black yarn. And with the black yarn, do another increase. And that's row 2 complete. For row 3, we're going to continue working with our black yarn, doing a single crochet stitch, an increase, and then 2 single crochet stitches. And in the final movement of that second single crochet, we're going to change to white to start the glint. The first white single crochet stitch will actually be worked in the previous stitch with the black, so it's kind of a half-half increase. And then we're going to work 2 further single crochet stitches. And then in the final movement of that second single crochet, we change to the black yarn again. With the black yarn, we're going to do 1 single crochet back into the previous stitch with the white, but we also want to immediately change back to the white yarn. We then do 1 single crochet in the white, and then we change back to the black to do an increase in black for that last little section. All right, I know that was a lot of color changes, so let's just hit pause and make sure we're all caught up. So we should have 3 white stitches, then 1 black, 1 white, and then 2 more black. And now we're up to our colors. So we want to change to have our light pink on the hook, and we're going to do a single crochet and then an increase with the light pink. And in the final movement of that increase, we're changing to the mid pink. With the mid pink, we'll do a single crochet and then an increase. And as we do that, we want to make sure that we work over the tail of the light pink to make sure that that's secure when we cut it. In the last movement of the mid pink increase, we're going to change to the dark pink. With the dark pink, do another single crochet and then an increase, working over the tails of the mid pink color. And once again, in the last movement of the dark pink increase, we change to our black yarn. And to finish out row 3 with the black yarn, we work a single crochet, working over the tails of the dark pink. And that's row 3 done! So we are done now with the color and the white yarn. So we can go ahead and trim them with a really short tail because that will all be tucked underneath the eye. All right, row 4 is where we create this eyeliner, eyebrow, whatever you want to call it. We're going to complete 2 slip stitches. And then 2 chains. We're then going to work a half double crochet increase in the next stitch along back on the round of the eye. So that's 2 half double crochets in the same stitch. Following this, we're going to do 6 single crochets. And then chain 5, which will form the tail that we're looking for. All right, so now we're going to work along that chain. We're going to skip that first chain stitch that's closest to the hook. We're going to slip stitch 2. And then we're going to single crochet stitch 2. And now we're back to working on the round of the eye. So where that previous single crochet stitch was on the round, you do a slip stitch into there, and then we're slip stitching around the entire rest of the eye. So I'm pretty sure you know how this works. I'll meet you back at the stitch marker. Okay, so we're nearly there with this eye. We just need to trim off a long length of the black so that we can use that for sewing our eye to the toy. And then we're going to be creating an invisible fasten off just so that we can't see a bit of a jog where we've finished up the round. So using our needle, we need to count 1, 2 stitches, put the needle under both bars of that stitch, pull that through, and then going back to the stitch where we came from, just in the back portion of that stitch, the back bar of the stitch, and pull that closed. And that just kind of creates a nice finish on the eye. The last thing we have to do is the little white section on the side of the eye. So that's going to be worked underneath the black extension that we've created. We need to turn the eye over, and we're only going to be working in those stitches on the side, not working on the stitches on the front. So take your white yarn and reattach to that first white stitch underneath the black extension. Still working in those side stitches, we're going to do 2 half double crochets, a single crochet stitch, and a slip stitch before we turn the work. We now need to skip that slip stitch and work a single crochet stitch in the next stitch, a half double crochet stitch, and a single crochet before we fasten off with a medium length of the white yarn. And that's your right eye completed. Congratulations! The majority of the left eye is very similar to the right, so I'm still going to go through it, but I'm going to go a bit faster than I did the first time around. When I get to the bits with the changes, I'll obviously go into a bit more detail. If you're wanting to skip ahead, check down in the description for the chapter link to left eye, final row, including tail, because that's where our left eye becomes quite different from the right eye, so you're going to want to catch up there. All right, now onto the left eye. Once again, we're starting with the black yarn and doing 8 single crochet stitches into the magic ring. For row 2, we'll again continue on with the black yarn and complete 4 single crochet increases. This time our first colour change goes to the dark pink. So in the last movement of the 4th increase, you change to that dark pink and then complete a single crochet increase. Then changing to the mid pink colour, you're going to complete a single crochet increase in that middle pink. And then changing to the light pink colour, you'll do another single crochet increase. Changing back to the black yarn, doing one more single crochet increase to finish this row. For row 3, continuing on with the black yarn and do a single crochet, an increase, and then 2 single crochets. In the last movement of that second single crochet, changing to the white yarn, then single crochet back in the previous stitch, and then complete 2 single crochets in the white. Then we're changing back to the black yarn, making a single crochet in the previous stitch, changing back to our white yarn, and doing our last single crochet in white before changing back to the black. Work one more increase in that black yarn, and change to the dark pink yarn before you complete a single crochet and then an increase in the dark pink. Then you'll change to the middle pink and complete a single crochet and then an increase in that middle pink color. All right, this is the last of the colored yarn, so we're changing to a light pink and doing another single crochet and then an increase in the light pink. And finally, we're going back to the black yarn and doing another single crochet and then an increase in that black. Before we will fasten off all of the colored yarn and the white yarn. All right, we're nearly there with row 4 on the left eye, so let's finish this thing. We're going to complete 1 slip stitch and then chain 6 because this is the tail end on the other side, obviously the mirror image of what we did the first time around. And now working along the chain, we're going to slip stitch 3 and then single crochet 2. You might actually notice that the chain count on this tail is slightly more than on the right hand side. For some reason, it just works out that way because of the way you have to work the eye, because we obviously want to make it mirror image. Okie dokie, we're back to the eye round and we're working in that next stitch across, and we're going to work 6 single crochet stitches around the eye. And then we complete 1 half double crochet increase, before working 3 chains and then slip stitching back into the same stitch where you've completed that half double crochet increase. And now it's just a matter of slip stitching around the remainder of the eye back to the stitch marker. And we are so close to being done, but don't forget to complete an invisible bind off as we did for the first eye. Once again, we're going to be working underneath that black tail, but this time we're attaching our white yarn to that last light pink stitch, again at the side of the eye. And then in the next stitch, we're going to work a single crochet stitch and then 2 half double crochets. And once we've done that, we chain 1 and turn our work. We're going to skip that chain and work into the next one, a single crochet stitch, followed by a half double crochet, a single crochet, and finally a slip stitch into that same stitch where you attached the white yarn before you fasten off with a medium length tail. Congratulations, you finished both of your eyes. Definitely take a second to reflect on how awesome you are. Can we also talk for a second here about this gorgeous kind of curly texture? I found this yarn recently at Big W of all places. So I'm going to do a little bit of a review of it as well, but it looks, in my opinion, super cute when it's worked up. Anyway, that's a bit of an aside. Back to the crocheted eyes. I know I've spoken about this before, but I'm going to mention it again. There's no point spending all that time completing gorgeous crocheted eyes if you're not going to take the time to properly sew them on. So let me tell you how I do that. First things first, you want to make sure that you put your eyes in the right spot. So I use U-shaped bobby pins to hold the eyes in place, but you use straight pins or whatever works for you. And before you commit, move the eyes around, make sure it's 100% where you want them. And now I use the ladder method that I've spoken about previously. So you put the needle in through the head, making sure that stitch doesn't go too far away from the eye because we obviously don't want to see the stitches, and back into the first stitch on your eye. And then turning our needle around, working again through the next stitch on the eye and back into the head. And this will just give the eyes a really clean and professional look. It does take a little bit longer to do, to focus on, but I promise you the time is worth it. When we get around to the tails of both the eyes, you want to make sure that the white bit goes underneath the tail and that the black tail is quite stretched out so that it's quite pronounced. And then I sew along the tail on both sides. And then I skip the section that has the white bit attached and then continue on sewing around after that. And once I've finished sewing around the entire eye with the black, I move on to the white segment and just secure those few stitches there. And now that you've put so much time and effort into these eyes, I hope you absolutely love them. So I really hope that's helped you create a slightly different eye for your crochet creations. Don't forget to subscribe, share this video, comment, let me know what it is that you're working on, and I'll catch you again soon.